Welcome, guys. This is CBSI presents the Hot 10 show. I am Brian McClay from Tales from the Flipside. I'm joined by our host, Ben S. We have some special guests in the room tonight. Welcome the Bird City Comics crew. I'm really appreciative of you guys joining on with us. Tell us a little bit about your show.
That's all you, babe.
All right, well, we're Bird City Comics, guys. We've been streaming for a couple of years now. We've been slinging books for about 5. Husband and wife team. So, yeah, we like to kick all kinds of butt and make sure that everybody's entertained, and we got all kinds of goodies to show everybody every week.
So I want to give a quick shout out to all the Bird City fans. I think there might be a little issue streaming straight to your guys' page. If there is, I apologize. That's my fault, and we'll get that figured out. But make sure you guys check us out on the YouTube stream. If they want to check us out on the YouTube stream, they can. So let's get into the show this week. There's a lot of craziness going down with all this Spider-Man news and all that type of fun. But I definitely want to start off by giving a shout out to all the people on the Flipside channel. If you guys don't know, we have a lot of new content out right now. Make sure you guys go check it out. CBSI presents Tales from the Flipside is on Monday nights. Vintage Voyage is on Sunday. Tuesday is, of course, Global Comic Safari. Wednesday is Clutch Collectibles Discord whenever we get a chance. Thursday is the CBSI Hot 10 Hot Theme Hot List. And then, of course, Friday we have the Hot 10 show, 3 Comic Money, and Saturday Weekend Update with Nico. So make sure you guys are checking all that out. Let's get into the Golden Age books. Ben, what do you think, brother?
All right, let's start off. We got Power Comics number 3. This is from like the 40s, I believe, late 40s. So this is kind of a much older book. Gorgeous classic cover here. We were talking about this beforehand. It's an LB Cole cover, and just all kinds of different styles and everything on this cover. But I think this is one that's very, very difficult to find. I think Gerber rates as rare to actually find this book. I could not find a sale since 2017 for this. So it's really difficult to find. But a 7.5 did sell this week on Heritage for $4,300 for a 7.5, which is about 3 to 4x guide. And the last 7.5 sale I could find was 2012, and that was for $800. So, but I just want to call attention to this cover this week. I think this is probably in the last month. This is probably the second or third LB Cole cover. Is that right, Brian?
Yeah, LB Cole. I agree with you. This book is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, and the craziness that you were talking about earlier. Why don't you explain what you were talking about a little bit earlier I was
just talking about the different styles that he did here on this cover. I mean, you look at the top left-hand corner, and it looks like a comic strip. The bottom left is kind of, a little more adult, but still comic-y. But then you look at the center, and it's like a painting, and then the right-hand side is like just solid comic art. It's just all kinds of different things going on this cover. So
there's a huge variation for one artist.
Yeah, all in the same cover, right? And this was in the 40s, so
wow.
Really impressive. And then you had that black background with the yellow. It just, everything just pops on this. But I'll never own this book. But
yeah.
Oh well.
This is one of those impossible books to get in that super high grade because of that black cover, but you just don't care as long as the color is there.
Right.
Yeah.
So I want to give a big shout out to everybody in chat. Thank you for joining us. Let's get on to the next one. This is honorable mention number 2 this week. Clone Wars Battle Tales. Now, this is kind of interesting because with all the heat on Star Wars right now in Clone Wars, this is a brand new book that recently came out.
Yeah, so this was part of the, comic books are starting to actually release again. This one was released this week to stores, which is unusual, or, just hasn't happened for a couple months. So it's, kind of exciting that the books are actually getting back out. IDW and Dynamite came out this week, and so this is a 1 in 10 variant. And I don't remember who said it. Somebody said that there was a first appearance in this. Brian was.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah. So basically, what they're talking about first appearance wise is the Clone Commander, and the best way to do this is to remind you guys that the Hot 10 list, of course, is brought to you by comicbookinvest.com. You guys can go check out the Hot 10 list every week, every Friday on the comicbookinvest.com. They recently had a article where they talked about this book, and basically I'm just going to read word for word what the article says. It says, it appears that Star Wars Clone Adventure #1 out today has the first appearance of Clone Commander Wolfie. The character was only mentioned in Darth Maul, Son of Dathomir #2 by Aya Sakura, but never shown. He also appears in the trade paperback Star Wars The Clone Wars Volume 2 in Service of the Republic, but so far many of the Star Wars trades are not yet popular with collectors. So this is like his first appearance in comic books, like shown appearance. So people, and it's new, so people are kind of going a little crazy.
That's something, right? That's something.
Yeah, that's great, especially with kind of what's going on, and you know, we're so clamoring for new books.
Right.
And it's great to see new books on the list.
Yeah, I like how Disney stamped their logo right there at the bottom.
Darn right.
Yeah, and then you got Locksmith is saying what's up to you, Laura, and and Anthony, a couple comments down. We appreciate that, man.
What up, Locksmith? Definitely a shout out to him coming over and checking it out from Bird City again. We want to thank.
I like how my comment was further down though. Oh, and Anthony.
I love that.
Next time we go live, Brian, I'm not going to be on camera. I'll just put my hand like in the frame because that's all they ever see of me.
That's why I had to put you on the bottom.
Well, did you just see when Brian put the comment on screen? It just blocked you out completely.
Right?
It's totally blocked you out.
It's just jazz hands like playing like a GIF. God, you guys! Oh my goodness.
Anyway,
all right, on to number 10 this week. Let's get into the main part of the list. And number 10 this week, of course, more Miles Morales fun. We talked a little bit with Anthony and Laura before the show. There's a lot of new news heading our way about Into the Spider-Verse #2. So Miles, of course, is just going to be super hot, and we've seen this on the list the past couple weeks.
Yeah, Ultimate Fallout 4 is just it's. I don't know where, and there's other books on this list that we can kind of ask the same question. I'm not sure where the ceiling is on this. I mean, is this a $1,000 book? Is it a $2,000? Is this a Harley Quinn, BA12 $2,000 9/8 book? I don't know. What is the ceiling on this? There was a ton of copies. There are a ton of graded 9/8s as well. So I don't know where the ceiling is. The variant, the Jurjevic variant is what, $5,000 for a 9/8 now? And
yeah.
I mean, remember a few years ago when everybody thought it was the end of the world when those popped up in the Five Below packs. Remember that? And everybody's like, "Oh gosh, no, the book's never going to be worth anything." And yet now look at it.
Yeah, I'm glad we're talking about that because as we were talking earlier before the show, we'll see some more info about those packs later on down the list. But this was one of those first books that everybody was, I remember, searching for in the comic packs, whether it's Five Below, Walmart packs, yada, yada. That variant was in there. And this book was hot then. I didn't think it could get any hotter like you were saying, but with the movie coming out, and I think that a lot of people think that this is a character that is a good character, and especially for spec. I don't know. What do you guys think, Bird City Crew?
For me, Miles Morales, I think is a little more relatable to a younger audience. Like my son's not a Peter Parker fan, but he loves Miles Morales.
You just nailed it.
Right. Tell him, Laura, what kind of shoes does our son wear because of him?
Jordans, baby.
All he wears are Jordans, the red and black ones. And just, I'm going to spec on a spec here for guys. Tell me what you guys think about this. But I told you I saw a movie poster. I don't know if it was real or not, but they've got Spider-Man 2099 very large in that poster. And we've got the first appearance was that Amazing Spider-Man issue that he's in.
Yeah. 360 or something like that, right?
That might be something to watch because if Morales,
I can't remember which number it is.
Yeah, I think it's the black cover with the foil stamp in the middle.
Yes.
That might be something to watch out for too, especially since they made that character so large on the poster.
Yes. Well, there was talk before, early on. I remember there was like rumors. There we go. There it is again, Laura. Rumors. Rumors run the spec industry. There was rumors about Spider-Man 29 getting a major spot in that movie. So if that happened,
he was in the post-credit trailer or post-credit scene. So that was, I think, what jumped that initially. Whenever the movie came out 2 years ago or whatever it was.
Pretty big hint.
Yeah. Well, here's an interesting thing. Comic Crypto Stock basically says he's not selling, so he thinks that some of this that it still has a ceiling to hit. So
I will say I sold my 9.8 copy a couple months ago, and I probably shouldn't have done it. It was kind of, but in my mind, I'm thinking there's just too many copies out there. But are there really? There's a ton of AF-15s out there. Doesn't mean that just because there's a ton of copies that there's. It's still a Spider-Man main character. I'm not sure that there is. I'm not sure a print run matters to be on a book like that.
I hope so because we talk about print run all the time and that's king. But we'll see. On to number 9. This book was an honorable mention last week, and this whole Stargirl stuff is starting to heat up. And I think, Anthony, did you see the Stargirl trailer?
I did, and I'm gonna mess up my Wilsons now. Yeah,
Luke
Mr.
Wilson. Yeah, Luke Wilson. I saw it. So typically for me, when I'll look at something, and I love great no-name actors, but when you bring in an actor that we all love and appreciate his style of acting, I saw Luke Wilson on the screen. I said, okay, they're going for something with this to bring in somebody like that. And again, I think they're going the Miles Morales route, and they're trying to appeal to that younger audience because my daughter watches all the DC, all the Marvel on Netflix type episodes. And as soon as I said there is a stepdaughter, maybe teenage, that assumes these powers and all this stuff, she was invested. She was like, wait, where's this on? I need to watch this now. She asked me if I had books right away, and I'm like, no. And then here we are, Superman.
It just revives the series, though. That's what the whole point is to draw in a new audience. And
female characters have been doing great anyway.
Right?
Laura and I talk about this on our show all the time. It's the female audience that makes us feel good. Guys are going to be around. Guys like this stuff. It's a guy's world.
That's a no-brainer.
All right. On to number 8. This is a fun one. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 4, first appearance of Silk. And again, all based on, rumors again that we are going to probably be seeing some Silk on the big screen soon, whether it's her own movie or TV role. But I think most of the rumors are talking about the word on the street that she's going to be part of this movie, craziness that's going on with Marvel characters right now.
Yeah, so one of the Sony, I think, execs or somebody associated with the Sony movies, I can't remember if it was on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or whatever platform he used, kind of said that a Jackpot, Night Watch, and I think Silk were in development. Now, we know where these in development things can go. Things can be in development. Gambit's been in development for a decade, and it doesn't make any, it's still probably never going to make a difference. But I think Sony's probably needs a little more success besides just Venom to actually bring some of these other characters to the screen. But Silk would seem to be the obvious choice, for that. But
well, and at the time, if you remember, when this came out, it came out like a week before, the same week as Spider-Gwen, and everybody was more about this character at the time than Spider-Gwen. So people were, they felt like this character had more chance to get big rather than Spider-Gwen. So I think a lot of people are wanting to see this character get big.
Yeah, and I will say as a caveat, yes, 9/8s are always the way to go on these modern books, but I will say that this book presses really well. So there are going to be a lot of 9/8 copies because it does press to a 9/8 pretty well. So if you think this is the book to invest in, stay with the 9/8 copy. Don't drop down to a 9/6 or a 9/4 because you're gonna need that 9.8 to be able to make money down the road.
Yeah. Well, it's a great book to make some money off of. All books are great books to make money off of, in my opinion. So throw one up, make a couple bucks off of it. On to number 7, The Incredible Hulk, Future Imperfect. Now, is this just number 1, or are both Future Imperfect books super hot right now?
So I was looking. A lot of the sales are a combo. They were 1 and 2 together. But obviously the Maestro character is obviously going to be first here. So I think most people kind of combine them because it was only a 2-issue series. So I think most people that have them aren't just selling just the one because it's just one more book. So I think most people are kind of packaging them together. But this is this is probably the one that you would want of the 2.
Yeah. And with news, like you said earlier about Peter David talking about taking on the Maestro universe again is kind of heating this up.
Yeah. So I guess in August, I think, is when the series comes out for Maestro, and I didn't read this series 20 some years ago or whatever it is, but from what I kind of the information that I gathered, it was the story kind of left you in limbo. You didn't really know exactly what happened after that, and so this new Maestro series that's going to be coming out in August should clear all that up. So that's what's bringing the interest.
20 years ago?
Oh, I do not, which is really weird because the 90s was, the late 90s was when I really was collecting more than anything.
I was in first grade, so.
I am the oldest. I'm the oldest one. I am so old compared to
Ben's the old guard.
I am. I'm the old guy. So I remember when all these things came out.
Way to go, Laura.
Yeah. I'm the old. Yeah, I was
6 years old. I was like,
in '97, you were in first grade, and I was already married.
Yeah, no, I was coming.
So Logan McCombs writes, for Hulk, I feel we would see more World War Hulk going up due to the rumor that being how they bring back Hulk in the MCU. That would be great. World War Hulk is one of my favorite all-time Hulk stories. I would love to see that in the big screen. I just don't know how they can do it right there's a lot of money that's going to have to be spent in CG for a World War Hulk type run.
Yep. Real quick shout out, Logan McCombs is one of our regulars in our show, so appreciate you coming out and supporting.
Hell yeah, shout out to Logan McCombs. Comic Fun Sticksboy 73 says, I was in college, not a Hulk guy, but love these books. There we go. On to number 6, and everybody knows it's got to be a Star Wars book in the list just because Star Wars is so hot. It would have been nice if it was a different book, but I don't, like we were talking earlier, Ben thinks this could keep going. Where does it stop?
I don't know. 9.8 sold. There were multiple 9.8 that sold this week for 1,200, which is up from last week where they were 800 or 900, and which I thought was crazy. You look back just 7 months and this was a $300 book or $250 book in 9.8. Now raw copies are hitting 500 for raw copies. I know it's insane. I don't know where that ceiling is. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it other than this just is an absolute monster.
Well, what's scary is if this book is still going up that high, what's the 1 in 1,000 variant is just got to be ridiculous.
Yeah, I didn't see any graded copies. I think I saw a VF.
Sorry, 1 in 100. I think it is. Is it 1 in 100?
No, there's 1. There's 1,000. There's 1,000.
It's 1 in 1,000. Okay.
There's just 1,000 copies. They took their top 100 dealers and gave them all 10 copies apiece. Yes. So that's how they distributed them.
Yeah.
But
JJ is saying that the variant is absolutely insane too.
Yeah. Yes, I think raw copies of that are approaching $1,000. I don't know.
Hey, like I said, I tried to pull the trigger on a copy that was 1,400. Buy it now, and I think I offered him 1,300, and he said no.
For the variant.
For the variant. So like, if a guy's like $100 less on a $1,400 buy it now, that book has. I mean, there's a lot of people that believe in this book. And Anthony, you were talking earlier the whole Ahsoka angle.
Yeah, so I subscribe to a couple different groups where it's just artists that commission their own works and things like that on blank variants. And Ahsoka is a hot commodity right now as far as commission artwork goes. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And then you brought up this book, and I'm like, well, that makes sense because I saw 3 or 4 guys doing live art of Ahsoka's. But yeah, Laura, we're ordering a pizza and digging through our old Star Wars boxes tonight. So
Ooh, that sounds glorious. Let's do it.
Well, you're going to have a lot of fun going through the Star Wars boxes after we tell you what to go check out. And before we get into the rest of the list, I'm gonna say go make sure you guys go check out if you get a chance, go to comicbookinvest.com. And this is for Anthony and Laura. Do a search on Star Wars. You will find an article that has the list for all the best Star Wars books to look for. It is one of the best lists that people can put on their phone and take to the comic shop, because there are so many books in Star Wars comics right now that you can still find in back issues. And it's the Hot 25 Star Wars comics is one of the lists I'm showing right now. And of course, there's also a list that Ben C put out of all the first appearances in Star Wars comics.
Not me, not Ben S.
Yeah, Ben.
The other Ben.
Yes.
The other Ben.
Yeah,
right.
So make sure you guys go check that out. But before I get too crazy into the lists, I want to talk to you guys about Bird City Comics frames. What's up with these, you guys? These are beautiful.
Yeah, so we had an idea. Laura absolutely gets half the credit. She tries to give me all the credit all the time, but I was making these out of wood in my shop in my garage because I didn't care for the frames that were on the market. And so I had one, and Laura, I want to say she stole it, but I look at my wall and there's a big, square missing. And I'm like, what? Where'd my books go? And her dad does production. He works with companies that produce products, and she gave it to him, and he had it all sized up and spec'd and sent it out to a manufacturer, and they started producing them for us. So
a very high grade crystal acrylic frame. It honestly looks very similar to glass in real life.
And it's only for graded books, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can put regular books in there, but graded books look gorgeous in it.
So this is where we're starting as graded comics. I'm assuming this is going to go somewhere because people are loving them. They're buying them left and right. I've already respec'd it to fit a top loader, so you can put raw books in it.
Oh, that's perfect.
And we've had a request to do frames for poster size, like the 11 by 17, the
and
original
adding
art
UV
types.
filters to the front to protect the books.
UV filter.
That's huge.
We've got so many things, going with this thing.
So how does that hang on the wall?
Yeah, so on the back side of it, I don't think I have a picture of it, but it's got a pre-drilled, it's a teardrop hole. So it's got the large mount, so if you're going to use a screw or a nail, but it builds to a point so it hangs center on its own.
Oh, perfect.
Pretty simple design. But yeah, we went with Laura came up with the name Infinity Frame because it's edgeless. I had a million goofy names and she vetoed them all and gave us a cool one.
Well, it works. I mean, Infinity Frame goes in the comic world, and then Infinity Pools, you have that seamless edge, and it really does look really nice on the wall. But Anthony, let's just call it as it is. I'm your sugar mama. I got You're welcome.
I got to look good. That's why I still wear these low-rise jeans. I got to get up and do push-ups in the morning. Gotta keep it tight.
So where can they find these frames, and where can they find your show?
So the frames, currently we're taking just orders on the Facebook site. So it's Bird City, facebook.com/Bird City Comics, and you'll find a post. I typically pin it to the top because we're running low of this first batch. We also have a website, birdcitycomics.com. So anybody that's a collector of signature series and all kinds of slabs, we got a lot of slabs on there. We're currently in the market with a couple different wholesalers for exclusive covers we partnered with. And we will be releasing our very first exclusive cover. It's going to be a Faro Lounge cover. I know a lot of people hear those words and go, okay. But it's going to be our version of what we deem is good art and acceptable. We're not, not to discredit anything. There's all types of collectors in the world, but, we have a specific style and we stuck to it. We weren't going to bend for that. So I think we came up with a pretty cool concept for it.
Very cool.
Yeah, we did.
All right. Thank you guys. So make sure you guys definitely go check out their stuff. Go check out their live auction. Go check out their frames. And we'll get on to the rest of the list. On with number 5. Now, this is an interesting book because this was one of the books that I really didn't know much about the list, but I'm glad Laura is on the show tonight. Laura, tell us a little about Road Rage and why you looked into it.
Well, automatically, just looking at the writers, you have Stephen King. That's a no-brainer. And then I saw Joe Hill, and I told Anthony, I'm like, that is the writer of Lock and Key. Which
and I was like, nah, it wasn't.
What?
I was like, nah, that's not right. And she's
I'm
like, no,
yeah,
it's this and that.
Google it.
So
anyway.
I Googled it, and I lost it.
If you haven't already read that series or watched it on Netflix, it's one of those storylines that just hook you in from the get-go. So, I mean, there you go. You got 2 really phenomenal writers. But I remember reading about Joe Hill because he specifically tried to build his own career separate from Stephen King. He didn't want his success to be, just the collateral success of his dad. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So when Lock and Key first came out, a lot of people didn't know that Joe Hill was his son. And there you go. He made his own.
Are you reading Lock and Key? Do you read Lock and Key?
I do. And I actually have a 9.8 slabbed in the other room, baby.
Nice. Nice.
Cherry pick that from a collection.
I
thought that was pretty funny. She's like, look what I got. And I'm like, where'd you get that from? She's like, your box. I'm like, oh.
I shop at Bird City Comics. Yeah.
So let me ask you on this number 2, this Tony Harris variant, is that Stephen King on the right?
It's got to be.
We were expecting. Yeah, it looks just like him. And then
the on the front.
You got it.
Okay.
Yeah, it does.
That would be a great book to get signed by both of them in signature series.
Oh, that would be phenomenal. I'd be so excited.
Well, that's assuming you can find it, because that was why I put it on the list this week. Sales went from 50 to 65 to 90, and there are none listed, 0.
Wow.
So I don't know how difficult this book actually is to get.
Well, it's going to get a little bit more difficult now because I'm going to be looking.
Comment if any of you out there watching right now, if you have this book, I want to hear about it. I'll make you an offer. A reasonable offer.
I was just thinking that we need to track one of these down just so we show we got some juice, even if we have to overpay for it.
It's the first appearance of Stephen King comics, said J.J. Maxwell.
I don't think it's definitely, it could be up there with like his first like appearance on a cover, but I know he's written some Batman books. He wrote a Batman story for an annual one year. So it'd be interesting to know that, JJ. We'll have to get Topher in on that and see what he thinks. The Retro Savage says, I've only seen one image of this book on eBay and it's been sold. So tough book to find. And
who's the artist on this again?
What's
that?
Who's the artist on this one again?
Tony Harris.
Tony Harris. Yeah, I'm digging this. It takes me back to I have an old Captain America and Daredevil, and they do that perspective. Look how huge the hands are. It's kind of giving you that coming at you effect, like that. So it's got an old school feel to it.
I'd be interested to know if anybody's read the series, what the series is about. So anyways, on to number 4, more Miles Morales craziness. This book was on the list last week. Of course, this is a Marvel previews, which I know everybody's getting crazy about. Oh, Marvel's previews are on the list and da 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 da. But listen, people love collecting these types of appearances, and people are going to always look for early appearances, whether it's in previews or not. Whether you like it or not, that's one thing.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Okay. One, I'm going to first say that I do not like this. I mean, I think it's cool, whatever. I would never pay what people are paying, which they are paying like $250 to $300 raw for this. Yeah. And it's a previews. I don't know anything about it other than it's just, kind of just shows the books in the middle, but Miles Morales is on the cover. And I think that's the main thing. I've read a bunch of forums on this. People are saying, "Oh, somebody is pumping this book because they've got a bunch of copies." Well, I can tell you that it was really expensive last week. It was really expensive this week, and there are only 4 copies listed for sale. So there's not a huge amount out there. It's not being flooded. If somebody does have this book, either one, they don't know it, or 2, they're just sitting in a warehouse somewhere and nobody's went to go get them from a store or anything like that. But from what I have generally gathered from stores, when people go and pick up the previews and they give them the Marvel previews, for free or whatever when they buy the big previews, either one, people just throw them away, or the stores, when they get old, they just throw them in the trash too. They don't keep them. Most stores. Now, there probably are some that do, but most stores just kind of just pitch them. They don't really have any value at that point. Because this was quite a while ago when this came out, I don't think anybody really thought, hey, I should probably keep all these Marvel previews with Miles Morales on the cover.
Yeah, why would you?
For people that might be wanting to get this book, make sure you know what this book is. This is not the actual big, thick previews. This is the Marvel version of that magazine. And what Marvel does is creates a separate magazine for only Marvel books that they put in they just push it in the middle. And when you open it up, it just falls out. So it's a little bit smaller than the actual big, thick previews. So make sure if you want to go find what previews it's in, make sure they say that the actual Marvel version of it is still inside the big thick previews before you buy it.
I think Marvel and DC are the only two that print their own preview that's within the preview.
Yeah.
And another really cool, this is not here, but I do like previews books. I collect them. I have a whole run of like the Marvel or DC Nation ones. They print those magazine style. So, it's kind of something different.
I'm with you. I enjoy doing it as long as we don't have to get crazy about, there's always that thing. What is first comic appearance, first previews? People don't like it. Hey, it's whatever you like to collect. So make sure That's
it's that, and I've heard people are like, I would much rather spend $500 on the Ultima Fallout 4 than I would ever this, and I get that. But when you start comparing, I would rather buy this book than that book. You can do that with any book in your collection.
Yes.
It doesn't matter what you have. People are like, I would buy the high grade silver. Well, you know what? Me personally, I don't like Silver Age books. I think they're highly overprinted. They're on every single dealer wall. I don't really like them. So I would rather not spend my money on a Silver Age book. I would rather spend it on a Golden Age or a really rare variant. So everybody's got their own taste. So when you start being kind of narrow-minded and saying, nobody would do that. Well, that's not true, because I grew up in an age when we had pet rocks and we spent money on pet rocks. Now, how dumb is that? But people did that.
See what Laura's
now
he's got to defend himself.
Yeah, Laura, you can go Google that because you weren't alive then. But
yeah, you know what though? Laura's got no room to talk. If you go through her collection right now, half of it are who does it? Is it the Trump that stole Christmas? And is it
different? That's different. I'm political, and that comic's hilarious. If you've ever read it, it's
fake news, and that's Laura's collection. She collects all these Donald Trump comics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hey, you like what you like.
Yeah.
Yeah. People spend dumb money on dumb things, and if you can't get past that and you just stick in your little hole, you could miss out on a lot of different cool things that are out there. I remember a couple years ago when second prints started gaining traction, and people were like, second prints aren't worth anything. You should never spend more than cover price on a second print. Well, yeah, you could do that if you wanted to, but there are people out there paying a lot of money for second prints, and if you just ignore that, you're missing a whole section of a hobby. Yeah, that might have been back in 30 years ago. If you want to live 30 years ago, fine. But collectors are different now, and you kind of have to change.
To make money, especially.
Some of my favorite books are hanging on my wall are Hulk 377's first, second, and third printing.
Yeah. So I don't know. I would never do it, but I would never tell anybody don't do this.
Right.
Yeah. Logan, here's Logan again. The third print of Venom 3 is skyrocketing right now, and it's a null cover. That's why it's skyrocketing. Big shout out. Thank you, Logan. Number 3 is here we go. Just as bad as previews in Ben's book is Free Comic Book Day.
Yes. Okay. So this is the Amazing Spider-Man Free Comic Book Day from 2007. I put in the thing in my write-up this week that I consider a free comic book day book or any free book no different than a preview book, because there's inherently risk when shops order books. There's a risk involved. There's some kind of financial backing you're basically doing when you say, I'm going to order 20 copies of this book. You're putting your money behind that. When it's free, there's no risk at all. And now, granted, the shops have to spend 10 cents on these books. Okay, I get that. And then they give them away for free. But you could order 100 copies for 10 cents and you would spend $10. You're not actually risking any money. You're giving these out just to promote your store. You're giving these out just to promote things in the future. This is not an actual. So the reasons this went up is because of this Jackpot thing, and Jackpot makes a cameo appearance in this, and CGC has the label as this is the first appearance of Jackpot. So that's why this one is selling. But me personally, I would never consider a free book, even though some people do. Umbrella Academy, okay, great. I would rather have something else.
Yeah. Laura's got one of those too, the free comic book day Umbrella Academy. Stashed away.
I respectfully disagree. I think that a first appearance is a first appearance, whether it's free or the financial aspect with it in regards to the risk of the store doesn't seem like, in my opinion, again, make that big of a difference to me. If it's the first appearance that you see this,
because you're a fan though too.
Huh?
Amen. But you're a fan though too.
That's true.
Yep.
I have
and just to put a spin on the collecting aspect of this book, you know, with these free comic book things, the thing that was fun for me is a lot of them have that white corner. I mean, this is a white cover with a store with a stamp who it's from. So it was always fun to me to try to find these books that you can get without the stamp on them, because the store is going to promote something they're giving away for free and they want to put their stamp all over the comics.
Yep.
And to try to get them unstamped, it's just another aspect of heading to the store and trying to snag one or talk the owner into not stamping your free comic.
Well, and that's the other thing that kind of I don't want to say it bothers me, but it somewhat bothers me. In general, free comic book day is meant for the kids, and so when and I've seen it. I mean, I generally I stay away from free comic book day. I would rather the kids get it. If I get it, I'll give it to another kid.
I'm in the line, like, where are my books?
Because Anthony's a big kid.
Get out of the way.
Anthony's a big kid.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm doing the Sparta kicks. Boom, get out of the way.
On to number 2. Number 2 is an interesting story. We kind of hit on it at the beginning of the show with the Polybagged craziness and the packs. You know, if you can get them in the packs. And this is an interesting one. Now, This is a beautiful cover, Symbiote Spider-Man number 4, the second print, which is a beautiful, beautiful Mysterio cover. But there is a lot of word that you can find these in the multi-packs in Walmart, is it? Is that what you remember hearing, Anthony?
Yeah, I heard that people are finding them in Walmart multi-packs. And our son, Adam, he's a big Pokemon card collector, so he's got this whole theory on looking at the bindings and squeezing the pack. So with this book, he was like, I brought it up to him. He was like, hey, Dad, I think there's a way to check out the bindings, you know, when you hold the pack sideways and see where it's at. And I'm like, nah, it's not. I called him out like Laura. And then I go online and sure enough, people have all these theories on how to get the pack with this book in it.
So was this strictly released for Walmarts or was this in stores?
I don't know. I think I remember seeing this book before, so I don't know if it's. I don't feel
think it was. I thought it was released to regular LCSs too, and then they're, you know, with the whole hiatus we've been on, I think that was kind of a fallback. We're finding them in those multi packs at Walmart.
Well, you're seeing $75 plus sales on them. Is that correct, Ben?
Yeah. So I saw zero. I mean, in my research, I found 0 sales before this week, and then all of a sudden there are $75 plus sales. So I don't know.
So it looks like Ultra said it was on shelves. It had hype the first week and died. So interesting. Very interesting.
I don't know.
It's a sweet cover. And hey, if you can go find one in Walmart in one of the hobby packs and make a couple bucks on it, go do it.
Yeah, not a bad read though.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Mysterio anyway, so you throw Mysterio on a cover, and I'm gonna want to check it out.
Amazing Spider-Man 66 is my favorite Mysterio cover.
Fucking Mysterio. I collect the damn action figures, and they made this big action figure back in the day. It was like before Marvel Legends, and it was in the Spider-Man thing. And you could like press a button to light up his helmet and see his face. And his face is like a weird kid's face. And I'm like, why would you do that? Scare the shit out of a bunch of kids. Anyways, on to number one this week. And this takes me back big time to my days of going into the local comic shop, and everything I was buying was mainly to read, and that is Amazing Spider-Man and the very first issue of the Brand New Day storyline, if I remember correctly, and that's 546. Is this the first Brand New Day storyline, Ben? Does that seem right?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Well, it says it right there. It starts here. And
yes, it does.
Yeah, the Brand New Day storyline, everybody was super excited for at first, and it turned out to be the biggest dog shit story for Spider-Man in the longest time. So I was so disappointed, but here it is on the number one Hot 10 list. I never thought this day would come, but it's not because of Brand New Day.
No, it's jackpot. And again, going back to this, the Sony, whatever it was that said that Jackpot would have her own movie. Again,
another rumor, Laura. Another rumor.
That's all it takes.
That's all it takes. Yeah, and it doesn't matter where it comes from. So the reasoning that I had this one at number one and the Free Comic Book Day at number three, not because I think number three or the Free Comic Book Day is less important, but this was a less than cover price book a week ago and before that, and now it's selling for up to $40. Almost said 40 grand.
Get everybody running to their Spider-Man boxes.
Yeah, $40. So less than cover price up to $40. The price jump on the Free Comic Book Day was not as significant, so that's why I had the difference on that. So that's where the jump came from. I don't really know which one to. My guess is probably get both. I've heard that the Free Comic Book Day is more of a cameo. I don't have it, so I haven't read it to see exactly how many panels, Jackpot is in that. The Jackpot number one has got a really great cover as well, and that one doesn't necessarily have a first appearance, but it's obviously her first series, so that one may be of interest, and it has been selling well as on top of these two books.
Yeah. Real quick, Logan writes, I really think you have to take these Sony rumors with a grain of salt. I feel Miles and Venom are their poster boys right now, and they are just seeing a way for that it may or may not work. So Logan, real quick, all of these books on here aren't because we think they have huge spec futures. It's because they're selling hot right now. So this is for the only reason most of these books are on here right now is because they're selling. They've got some heat behind them. Whether they didn't have any sales a couple weeks ago, now they're super hot, or they just keep rising. So Ben, do you want to explain? Did I explain that good enough?
Yeah. So my list is strictly based on sales. It has nothing to do with what I think is going to be good or anything like that. It's basically this book was selling for $50 this week, and this week it has went up in value. So it could have sold 1 million copies, but if the price is still $50, it probably won't make my list. It has to have a price increase to make my list, and it's so that's. But it could very well go down next week. It has nothing to do with what I think is something you should invest in.
Yeah, that's definitely not it. So real quick, right before we end this real quick, I want to say make sure you guys go check out comicbookinvest.com for all your comic and speculation needs. Also, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the Tales from the Flipside channel, where you can find all these amazing shows, and we would really appreciate it.
And I want to personally thank Anthony and Laura for jumping on. I love talking to new people, and I really appreciate you guys jumping on.
let us know what you guys think in the viewers. Let us know what you think of Anthony and Laura. We will really appreciate them coming on, and hopefully you guys too. Make sure you guys go check out Bird City Comics and see what they got to offer. Definitely check out those frames. You guys, thank you so much for joining us.
No problem.
Yeah. Appreciate you guys having us. And in the comments, guys, don't say anything mean. I'm really sensitive.
This is definitely the wrong place for that then.
Wrong
Damn
place
it,
for
I
that.
knew it.
Cry.
Whoa.
All right, guys, we will see you next time.
Peace.